What if I told you that the most successful people in the world share one secret trait that matters more than raw talent, more than intelligence, and more than luck? Welcome to Grit Fuel, where we uncover the discipline that outlasts talent and transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Picture Michael Jordan getting cut from his high school basketball team. Think about Oprah Winfrey growing up in poverty and facing countless rejections. Consider Thomas Edison failing over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. What separated these legends from everyone else who gave up? It wasn't natural ability. It was grit. Psychologist Angela Duckworth revolutionized our understanding of success when she discovered that grit, the combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals, predicts achievement better than talent alone. Her groundbreaking research at West Point Military Academy followed over 11,000 cadets through the brutal Beast Barracks training program. The results were stunning. Traditional predictors like SAT scores and physical fitness tests failed to identify who would make it through. But grit scores? They nailed it every single time. Here's what blew my mind about Duckworth's findings. In her study of Ivy League students, the grittiest ones, not the smartest ones, achieved the highest GPAs. She found that smarter students actually had less grit than their peers who scored lower on intelligence tests. Think about that for a moment. The students who weren't naturally gifted compensated by working harder and with greater determination, and their effort paid off in spades. This isn't just academic theory. This is your roadmap to success. Grit operates like a marathon mindset in a sprint-obsessed world. While others burn out chasing quick wins, gritty individuals approach achievement with stamina, persistence, and an unshakable belief that effort compounds over time. So how do you build this superpower? How do you develop the discipline that outlasts talent? Let me share the proven mechanisms that separate the gritty from the quitters. First, understand that grit has two essential components. Passion means maintaining consistent interests over time. It's not about fleeting enthusiasm or jumping from one shiny object to another. True passion is the deep, sustained commitment to a particular domain or goal that doesn't waver when things get tough. Perseverance is your ability to maintain effort and interest despite failures, adversity, and plateaus in progress. The grit-building process starts with what researchers call deliberate practice. This isn't just showing up and going through the motions. Deliberate practice means focusing intensely on your weaknesses, pushing beyond your comfort zone, and embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. When Duckworth studied National Spelling Bee contestants, she found that gritty spellers spent more time alone studying difficult words rather than engaging in more pleasant activities like being quizzed by others. Here's your first mechanism for building unstoppable discipline. Set what I call North Star goals. These are clear, specific, long-term objectives that serve as your personal GPS system. But here's the key. You need to connect these goals to your deepest values and sense of purpose. When your goals align with who you are at your core, you tap into an endless reservoir of motivation that sustains you through the inevitable storms. Research shows that people with a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, naturally develop more grit over time. When you believe that your talents and intelligence can be improved, you're more likely to persist through challenges. You start seeing failures not as evidence of your limitations, but as stepping stones to mastery. The second mechanism is what scientists call keystone habits. These are small routines that trigger positive changes in other areas of your life. Think of them as the domino that starts a chain reaction of discipline. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier each day, or doing 10 push-ups every morning, or reading for 15 minutes before bed.
These tiny actions might seem insignificant, but they build your discipline muscle and create momentum that spills over into everything else you do. Time blocking is another powerful tool in your grit arsenal. Instead of hoping you'll find time for important activities, you deliberately schedule chunks of time for specific tasks. This prevents procrastination, makes your work sessions more productive, and trains your brain to focus deeply on what matters most. When you integrate effective time management into your daily routine, you're actively shaping your life around your highest priorities. Environment design is crucial for sustaining discipline. Your surroundings either support your goals or sabotage them. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and remove the junk. If you want to read more, place books in visible locations and put your phone in another room. As habit expert James Clear points out, the environment you create often determines the behaviors you foster. Here's where it gets really interesting. Building grit isn't just about individual willpower. The most disciplined people leverage social support and accountability systems. When you share your goals with others, join accountability groups, or partner with a discipline buddy, you create external structures that amplify your internal motivation. Research consistently shows that commitments made publicly or within supportive communities boost adherence rates significantly. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates these principles in action. Sarah was a struggling college student who felt overwhelmed by her pre-med coursework. Her grades were mediocre and she was considering switching majors. Instead of giving up, she decided to apply grit principles to her studies. She started with one keystone habit, waking up at 5:30 a.m. to review notes for 30 minutes before her day began. She joined a study group for accountability and designed her dorm room to minimize distractions. Most importantly, she connected her studies to her deeper purpose of helping underserved communities access healthcare. The transformation was remarkable. Within a semester, Sarah's grades improved dramatically. More importantly, she developed an unshakable confidence in her ability to overcome challenges. By graduation, she had not only been accepted to medical school, but had also started a nonprofit organization. That's the power of grit in action. But here's what most people get wrong about building discipline. They think it requires superhuman willpower or some kind of genetic advantage. The truth is, grit is a skill that can be developed by anyone willing to put in the work. It's not about being perfect or never failing. It's about getting back up every single time you fall down.
The latest research reveals something fascinating about the relationship between grit and growth mindset. They create what scientists call a virtuous cycle. When you believe your abilities can improve, you're more likely to persist through challenges, which builds grit. And when you develop grit, you prove to yourself through mastery experiences that hard work pays off, which strengthens your growth mindset. It's a beautiful upward spiral that compounds over time. One of the most powerful mechanisms for building lasting discipline is what I call the identity shift approach. Instead of focusing solely on outcomes, you start identifying as the type of person who embodies the qualities you want to develop. You don't just want to write a book, you become a writer. You don't just want to get fit, you become an athlete. This identity-based approach makes your actions feel authentic and sustainable, rather than forced or temporary. Recovery and resilience are essential components of true grit. The grittiest people aren't those who never face setbacks. They're the ones who bounce back faster and stronger from adversity. They develop what psychologists call anti-fragility, the ability to actually benefit from stress and challenges. When you reframe obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger, you transform your relationship with difficulty itself. Here's your action plan for developing grit that outlasts talent. Start by conducting what I call a grit audit. Honestly assess your current level of passion and perseverance. Where do you give up too easily? What goals have you abandoned when things got tough? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Next, identify your core values and connect them to specific, challenging goals. Write down why these goals matter to you on a deep level. When motivation wanes, and it will, you'll have this powerful why to pull you through the darkness. Design your environment for success. Remove temptations and obstacles that derail your progress. Surround yourself with cues that remind you of your commitments. Make the right choices easier and the wrong choices harder.
Implement the 2-minute rule for building new habits. When you want to establish a new discipline, start with a version that takes less than 2 minutes to complete. Want to meditate daily? Start with 2 minutes. Want to exercise regularly? Start with putting on your workout clothes. These tiny actions build momentum and prove to yourself that you can follow through on commitments. Create accountability systems that work for you. This might mean finding a workout partner, joining a mastermind group, or simply telling a trusted friend about your goals. The key is choosing accountability that feels supportive rather than judgmental. Practice what researchers call mental contrasting. Visualize your desired outcome in vivid detail, then honestly acknowledge the obstacles you'll face in achieving it. This technique helps you prepare for challenges while maintaining motivation. It's the difference between naive optimism and realistic determination. Develop a growth-oriented response to setbacks. When you face failures or plateaus, ask yourself 3 questions. What can I learn from this experience? How can I adjust my approach moving forward? What would someone with more grit do in this situation? This reframes setbacks as data rather than defeats. The most successful people understand that discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. They know that building grit is like building muscle. It requires consistent effort, progressive overload, and adequate recovery. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll barely want to get out of bed. Both are normal parts of the journey.
Remember, talent might get you started, but grit gets you finished. In a world obsessed with overnight success and instant gratification, the ability to persist through challenges becomes your ultimate competitive advantage. While others are looking for shortcuts, you're building the character and capabilities that create lasting success. The research is clear. Grit can be developed at any age and in any domain. Whether you're a student struggling with difficult coursework, an entrepreneur building a business, an athlete training for competition, or simply someone who wants to become the best version of yourself, these principles will serve you well. Your journey to developing unstoppable discipline starts with a single decision: the decision to value effort over ease, growth over comfort, and persistence over perfection. Every time you choose to continue when you want to quit, you're building the grit that will carry you through any challenge life throws your way. The world needs more people who refuse to give up on their dreams. People who understand that the path to extraordinary achievement is paved with ordinary moments of choosing discipline over distraction, effort over excuses, and persistence over surrender. If this message resonates with you, if you're ready to develop the discipline that outlasts talent, then I encourage you to subscribe to Echoverse audiobooks on YouTube. We're committed to bringing you more life-changing motivation and practical wisdom that transforms how you think, feel, and act. Hit that subscribe button and join a community of people who are serious about becoming the best versions of themselves. Your grit journey starts now. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you're willing to develop what it takes. And based on the fact that you've listened this far, I believe you already know the answer. Subscribe to Echoverse audiobooks to get more such life-changing motivation videos that will fuel your journey to extraordinary achievement. Because talent is common, but grit is what separates the dreamers from the achievers, the starters from the finishers, and the ordinary from the legendary.